I made over $1 million in Red Dead Online, and I didn't use any glitches or use any exploits, and I definitely wasn't wasting hours on the wrong missions. Well, maybe at the beginning, but not anymore. This video is all about how I got my money using every single role in Red Dead Online. I'm going to rank the roles from the best to the worst for making just the pure cash, so hopefully by the end of the video, you'll know exactly where to grind and how to start stacking serious amount of cash. But here's the thing, I didn't make over $1 million by just focusing on one of the roles. Even if one of the roles was really good on its own, if you really want to earn fast and efficiently, then you need to combine these roles to really start to maximize your total income. And with that being said, let's jump into the best role for making money in Red Dead Online. So I bet a lot of you saw this coming, but the most profitable #1 role for making the most amount of money efficiently and within the smallest time frame is the collector role. Now, the collector role allows you to travel around the map and find collectibles that you can then sell to Madame Nazar for a very huge payout per completed set. Now, over the years, Rockstar has made multiple updates to the collector role, trying to make certain collectible sets harder to complete. That means only a few sets actually have a 100% spawn rate every single day. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the Gene Roxby RDR2 collector map. The link is in the description below if you're not already using it. This map shows you exactly where all the collectibles you need are located, and it's very essential if you want to start actually maximizing your efficiency in the collector role. Now, some collectibles don't actually have a 100% chance of spawning in that exact item that you need. This means that you might have to collect for multiple days on end just to complete that one singular set, which obviously isn't very time efficient, and it can take up to ages to even start making money consistently that way. However, there are some collectible sets that fully spawn in every single day. That means no matter what, you'll be able to collect the entire set daily. The main ones that you should probably focus on are going to be the tarot card sets, as these pay the most and guarantee you 4 full collectible sets per day. That alone makes you exactly $1,052.50 per day, which is already very solid. But if the collector role was on 2 times money, that jumps to over $2,000 per day. Even at base payout, selling 4 sets every day would make you a little over $30,000 per month, and it usually only takes around an hour and a half to 2 hours per day. But if you really want to maximize your earnings, and this is what I do personally, you can also add the antique alcohol bottles, family heirlooms, and American wildflower sets. These also have a guaranteed daily spawns per set, and you can push to over $2,000 per day with base pay, or around $4,000 per day when the roll is double money. You can also add the bird eggs, which are another guaranteed set of collectibles, but some of the egg locations can become glitchy and become almost impossible to get, so I wouldn't suggest adding them. With those sets added, that's up to $60,000 per month, which is just absolutely insane. But obviously this takes longer and is really only for those trying to get stupid rich like me and who have way too much free time on their hands. Now, the second best role for making tons of money in Red Dead Online is definitely going to have to be the trader role. If you didn't already know, the trader role is all about collecting animal pelts and donating them to crypts, who then turns the materials into goods that you can then sell to a buyer. And unlike the collector role, trader is mostly passive and doesn't really require you to run around the map for hours at a time. Now, the only way this role will actually start making you serious money is if you have the largest delivery wagon unlocked. And if you're not selling with the large wagon, your payouts will be pretty minimal. And I won't go over how to level up the trader in this video, but if you do want a full trader guide, let me know down below in the comments. So, assuming that you actually do have the large delivery wagon, you can sell for $500 locally and $625 for a long distance delivery. And when the trader is on double money, you're looking at around $1,000 to $1,250 per delivery, which is huge. Keep in mind, it usually does take around 3 hours and 20 minutes to actually fill up a full 100 good wagon. But the key thing is that it's fully passive. So as long as your camp has materials and supplies and your game is running, well then Crips is producing in the background. You can literally keep the game running while you work, study, or even watch Netflix, and you're basically printing cash in the background. Now, there are a couple ways to actually make the trader even more efficient. First, I would highly recommend using the Naturalist role to get legendary animal pelts. Now, this is more of a long-term strategy, so if you don't have the goal to buy into the role, well, then I'd save up for something more important like the Collector or Bounty Hunter first. But if you do have the Naturalist, start doing the legendary animal missions. Here's the trick. Don't sedate the animal like Harriet tells you to. Instead, kill the animal and then take the pelt. Yes, the mission will fail and Harriet will then get mad at you, but you will keep the pelt and you can donate it to crypts. You can do this up to 3 times within about a 45-minute span each mission. If you kill too many animals, Harriet will then get mad at you and put you on a short cooldown. But regardless, this method can bring in hundreds of materials quickly and massively boost your trader production. But if you don't have the Naturalist role, then I would highly suggest hunting in places like the Heartlands and New Hanover and focus on getting the deer and making sure you kill them with a headshot to secure perfect pelts. Once you get really efficient at that, well, then you can start to farm the deer more quickly and start to maximize your trader materials without wasting time. I would also recommend always doing the resupply missions. They don't necessarily give you direct cash, but they do save you money since you don't have to spend $20 on supplies, and over time that will start to add up. One last thing, and this is completely optional, but if you're okay with playing with other people or you have friends, please make sure to run their wagons too, as I do this all the time, especially if they already have a large wagon, as you'll get half the profits just for helping them sell. That's literally $312 for a normal long distance delivery and $625 if it's a double. Remember, that's literally just as much as running your own wagon, which is honestly kind of crazy. Overall, the trader is an incredible moneymaker when used properly, especially when combined with the collector role. It may not be as instantly profitable minute to minute, but when optimized properly, it becomes one of the best cash generators in the entire game. The third best role for making money in Red Dead Online is definitely going to have to be the Moonshiner role, and this is where you're really going to start seeing your money stack, especially if you love passive income but also want to have a quick return on your cash. See, here's the thing, the Moonshiner role is all about producing and, well, selling moonshine, but from your own shack. And unlike the trader, which takes over 3 hours to fully produce a large wagon, well, the Moonshiner only takes about 48 minutes to brew at max level. That's what makes this role so strong. The production time is relatively short and the payout is still very solid for the small amount of effort that you actually have to put into it. Now, in order to make good money with the Moonshiner role, you'll actually need to upgrade your still to the strongest version. Now, like I said before, I won't explain how to do that in this video, but let me know if you do want a full guide. If you do have the strongest still though, you can make between $226 and $247 per sell, depending on the flavor. If you're wondering which flavor you should probably choose, well, I would always recommend you getting the Berry Cobbler Moonshine, as it's always available and it consistently sells for $226. Now, even though it doesn't sell for the absolute maximum price, the benefits are that the ingredients are very easy and cheap to get, and the other recipes do take a collectible from you, so I wouldn't suggest using them. Now, all you really need are canned peaches, which you can easily buy from a store or order through the catalog to your mailbox, raspberries, which literally spawn all over the map, but are most commonly found in the Heartlands, especially around the lake area near Emerald Ranch, as well as the Great Plains near Blackwater. And also, last but not least, the last ingredient is just a peach, which again can just be cheaply bought from a store or mailed through your catalog. Now, because the ingredients are easy to access and the production time is super fast, well, you can realistically do multiple sells in just a couple hours, especially if you're actively playing. And when Moonshiner is on double money, your sales increase to around $450 to $500 per batch, which is honestly, again, just crazy considering how quickly it produces. A few ways to maximize your Moonshiner profits is first to always do bootlegger missions before starting a batch. These reduce your mash costs. Instead of having to pay the full $50, you can lower it to around $10 or even $20. That significantly increases your profit margin over time. Now, the second thing is to protect your wagon during the deliveries. See, the moonshine wagons are very, very, very fragile. Even hitting a small dead worm on the road can literally cause so much damage to your wagon, which makes it really easy to lose bottles, which will start to lower your overall payout. So, drive very carefully and avoid unnecessary shootouts whenever possible. One trick I like to do is just aim my weapon while driving. this will auto steer along the road, making it much easier to avoid crashes. The only downside to the Moonshiner role is that your payout per sell is definitely significantly smaller than the trader, so you won't see that massive $625 or $1,250 payday in just that one delivery. Instead, it's going to be steady, reliable money every single hour. But when combined with the collector and the trader, well, the Moonshiner role becomes one of the best supporting roles in the entire game and definitely plays a very huge part in stacking up serious amounts of cash. The fourth best role for making money in Red Dead Online is definitely going to have to be the Bounty Hunter role. And while it's not the highest paying role overall, it's still one of the most important for steady income, especially early on if you're a new player. See, the Bounty Hunter role is all about tracking down targets and capturing them mainly alive if possible, and turning them in for a payout. But unlike the trader or the Moonshiner, the role is completely active, so there is no passive income here, as you're constantly having to do the Bounty Hunter missions. Now, the reason the Bounty Hunter doesn't rank higher is because the payouts aren't massive compared to the other roles. A standard bounty will usually pay anywhere from $15 to $50 depending on the difficulty and how long you take. However, the key detail that most players don't realize is that the longer you take, the more money you get paid. See, the sweet spot for me is usually waiting until like the last 30 seconds before turning in the bounty, because that's when you start to really maximize your payout and you literally can't get paid anymore within that mission. However, it's not always the most time efficient method, because technically you get paid in intervals of roughly every 3 minutes during the mission. So if you actually want to calculate the most efficient payout based on how much time you personally have available, it's better to plan it out properly instead of just blindly waiting until the last 30 seconds every time like me. So if you want to break it down perfectly, go check out Hazard's spreadsheet. It literally shows exactly how much gold and cash you earn depending on how long you wait before turning in the bounty. It makes it super easy to figure out the most efficient timing strategy for your schedule. Hazard basically built the foundation for optimized money making in RDR2, so definitely go check out his spreadsheet if you haven't already. The link is in the description below. Now, legendary bounties are where things start to get a lot better, as these can pay up to $100 or more, especially on the higher difficulty missions, and they can also reward a solid amount of XP. But the downside is that there's a cooldown after completing one, so you can't just spam them non-stop. And it's easier to calculate how much money you're going to get from the legendary bounties because they all cap their payout at 30 minutes, unlike regular bounties which have different timers that can limit how long you stay in the mission and reduce your cash reward. The legendary bounties actually are consistent with the 30-minute base payout every single time. So if you want to time your legendary bounty for the maximum or even optimal payout, well, then you need to set a 30-minute timer from when you first load into the mission. Personally, I always do the full 30 minutes while doing something else on the side. However, if you want to make the most amount of money in the shortest period of time, well, then turn in the bounty at around the 15-minute mark, as it's usually the better, more optimal option. But one massive advantage of Bounty Hunter is that it's the only role that consistently pays gold along with cash, and that makes it extremely valuable for the new players who are trying to unlock other roles. While Collector might make you more cash, Bounty Hunter helps you build up that gold that you need to even expand into the other roles. So to maximize your earnings with the Bounty Hunter role, well, make sure to always bring targets in alive when possible, as the alive pays way more than the dead ones. Also, wait until the timer is close to 30 seconds before turning them in, as that's your maximum payout, although it's not your most optimal payout. Also, use reinforced lassos and bolas for multiple target bounties. Also, rotate legendary bounties with the regular ones during cooldowns. Another great strategy is combining Bounty Hunter with Moonshiner or Trader. So, for example, while your Moonshine is brewing or your Trader goods are producing, well then you can run bounties instead of just standing around doing absolutely nothing. That way, you're stacking active income on top of your passive income. Now, the downside to the Bounty Hunter role is that it's very hands-on, so if you stop doing the Bounty Hunter missions, well then you'll stop earning money. So there is really no background production like with the Trader or Moonshiner. It can also just get really repetitive after a while. I mean, me personally, I've been playing this game for years, so even me, I know personally that the Bounty Hunter missions can get a little stale after a while, so remember to take a break. But overall, the Bounty Hunter isn't the most lucrative role in terms of the pure cash per hour compared to like the Collector, but it is still one of the most important roles in the entire game, as it gives you really solid gold, steady money, and constant fun with the shootouts. And when you combine them properly with the massive roles, it becomes a really strong part of any serious money-making setup. Now, the fifth and last role for making money in Red Dead Online is definitely gonna have to be the Naturalist role. And I'm going to be brutally honest with you on this. On its own, this is probably the weakest role for pure cash. The Naturalist role is centered around studying, tracking, and sampling animals for Harriet. Instead of killing animals like you would for Trader, you actually have to sedate them, take samples, and then sell those samples to Harriet for money and XP. Now, the reason the Naturalist ranks the lowest for the direct profit is pretty simple. It's that the payouts just aren't that great and are honestly pretty shit for the time that you actually have to put into it, as the regular animal samples only sell for a very small amount, and even full stamp sets don't come close to what you'd be making doing collector or even trader efficiently. However, there is some good news, as once you level up to rank 5 in the role, well then Harriet will start offering you legendary animal missions, and like I said before, these animals can either be sampled for Naturalist progress, or you can kill them for their pelts, and then those pelts can be given to your trader for a huge boost in production. But honestly, if you don't use it for the trader materials, then honestly, the money from the samples alone is pretty minuscule and it's not even worth it since it's just so slow. And it's honestly more of a completionist or more XP focused role more than anything pure cash wise. So overall, as a direct money making role, it's pretty bad, but as a booster for the trader, it's extremely valuable. And as a long-term investment, it's actually worth it once you've already gotten like the collector role and the trader role and every other role. And this will probably be the last one you get. So the Naturalist role, although it won't make you rich by itself, but if you're trying to optimize every system in the game and squeeze out the maximum efficiency like I did on my way to $1 million, well, then the role definitely absolutely has its place. So that's how I made over $1 million in Red Dead Online. And if you take anything away from this video, let it be this. Don't just rely on just one of these roles. Collector might be the best for just pure cash, and Trader might bring in those big deliveries, while Moonshiner also just gives you really fast, nice passive income, while Bounty Hunter builds up your gold and the Naturalist boosts your Trader to the next level. But when you stack them up together properly, that's when the real money's gonna start flying into your bank account. So, if you found this guide helpful, make sure to drop a like so more people can see it. And if you want a full in-depth guides on any like specific role like the Trader or the Moonshiner or the Bounty Hunter or whatever, let me know down below in the comments. And subscribe if you want more Red Dead Online money making guides with optimized grinding strategies. With that being said, I'll see you in the next one.